we have all these students in UDK who would have been in ECE. So really our numbers are pretty stable there. For our homeless students, we have 721 enrolled right now. Our foster students, 410.
Thank you. Okay, I think we're going to do curriculum highlights, which is going to be our folklore dancers. Come on down, whoever's going to bring them up. And if you don't mind, we'll probably go down so we can watch. We'll go down the side so they can.
Four,
Oh, you got a presentation first?
if that's okay.
No, you guys do whatever you want. I mean, you can do whatever I want.
We're going to do it here because we have a little slideshow presentation. So we won't remember what we have. I won't remember what we have.
See that?
No. My name is Mrs. Sibley, Misty Sibley. I'm the principal at Desert View, and this is.
I'm Allison Hartman. I'm the assistant principal at Desert View.
And we are Wonder Power, Twins Power, activate. Okay, ready, let's go. So do our slides for us.
There's a clicker. Yes.
So we wanted to share a few good things with you that is happening at our school. And I'm just going to highlight a couple things so we can move quickly. First of all, I want you to know that we have, in addition to after-school programs, we have 3 teachers teaching academic tutoring, folklorico, which you were about to experience, a drill team, Latin Knowledge Bowl contestants, which the folklorico will be performing at again. We have a gate club and an honors choir. We also have a very active PTA, and we're just starting up with our Junior Star ambassadors this year, who will be doing a lot of community service.
We're also working on building our multi-tier systems of support. And our first big area of focus is in our SEL. So we wanted to focus on that. We've put together a weekly SEL committee, which is now we're going to start doing the SEL room with the 6-week intervention sessions. And we're starting with a daily behavior team check-in in the morning so we can go decide which kids need pop-ins from based on events that happened the day before.
So let the fun begin. Here we go. And ready one more time. Wonder Twins power activate. Is that 3 times? Okay, here we go. Enjoy.
Thank you. Yeah, we. Oh. Okay. Okay, so. Okay. This man tried to take a push. You can't have. So I want you guys just hold this right now, right? Just hold it. Probably good. On. Have you? Guys are all holding my black part? Okay. Oh, you're not supposed to touch it yet. But everybody do what she's doing. Get it lit up and then hold it up like this. If it doesn't light up, we got a really quick warranty. Just keep clicking until it lights up. Okay, everybody's working. Hold it up to the picture. Okay, your parents can take a picture. Is everybody's working? Is somebody not working? Who's not working? Okay, we're gonna drink this one's guaranteed. All right. So you guys, thank you so much. Another one? Okay. All right. I know, she's killing me. Parents, you don't have to stay for the meeting if you guys want to go, and not saying, ice cream could be fun, but not saying you have to. Thank you guys for coming and bringing the kids. Great job. All right. Let's all have a good evening. See if anybody stays. Just the hardcore people. I mean, I would go if I could. Fun fact, my son did Vocalorio when he was a marathon. So that's a good way to meet girls because you saw there's only like 2 or 3 boys. I wasn't that. No, but there was more. Yeah. Okay, we're moving on to their presentations, reports, proposals. Presentations, requests, proposals, and reports. And I think we have an ABTA Metro Go. Is that you? All right, well, come on down then. Oh, you're already down.
Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to present to you a clip of folks. Devin Dunning is the Deputy Executive Officer of LA Metro. She'll be taking care of our presentation tonight for LA Metro. James Royal, also from ABTA, he is the Marketing Director of ABTA. And Martin Tompkins, the Executive Director, CEO. And again, Devin is here to present on the AV Metro Go Pass program.
Hi, thank you so much for having me tonight. I'm really excited to be here making a presentation for you. You can learn all about the amazing partnership that we have with AVTA
and rolling out this program. This program just launched in Antelope Valley in September, so it's brand new. So we're really excited to be here.
Sorry, you got misinformed. I could hook you up with a really nice pencil.
So this is a program that LA Metro launched in LA County about 2 years ago. And there are a lot of reasons why we feel this program is really important to students in LA County. So one of those reasons is that a high percentage of students in LA County is low income, about 69% countywide, but about 89% participating in this program. We also, it's kind of blocked at the bottom there. I don't know if you have a hard copy of it, but we found that students in LA County receiving free transit passes can have up to a 27% higher graduation rate, which is really significant. And so our goal under this program is to increase student ridership, but also improve student health by creating more active lifestyles, getting students out walking, biking, taking buses and trains. And doing so, and also helping improve student success, as I mentioned, about that 27%. And doing so by creating partnerships with the school districts and the transit agencies all over LA County. So one thing that we're doing is creating a regional student pass, which I'll show you. There's about 15 transit agencies already participating in this program. ABTA is the newest. And also creating a new generation of lifelong transit riders, giving students this tool when they're young so that they'll be able to ride transit anywhere in the world as they get older. So ABTA is our newest partner, but we have these additional total of 14 transit agencies, plus all of LA Metro's buses and trains are covered under this program. So you see there's transit agencies throughout LA County. And one thing that I was just talking to Kimberly about is that Metrolink just announced a free student pass program that's starting on Monday, October 9th. So students will be able to ride Metrolink for free just by registering and using the Metrolink app. So they'll be able to get down into LA and to ride any of these transit agencies in addition to riding ABTA. And so I just want to compare it to the regular student pass programs that are available now that your district, I believe, is participating in a student pass program for some students now. And so the way they do that is they apply individually for a pass, a student reduced fare card, which looks something like this one on the screen, except they don't have photos anymore. They do have names. The regular fare on ABTA is $1.50 per ride, though. There's no student fare on ABTA per se. Children under 44 inches do ride free, like at an amusement park. So you have that going for you out here. But you can see that those costs add up. So Metro student reduced fare is 75 cents per ride. That's capped at $6 per week, but it comes to over $300 per year. And then the regular fare on ABTA could be up to $390 per year. So that can get really expensive if you have especially multiple students in a family. So the way that this new program works, the Go Pass program, is that districts pay $7 per student per year for all students in the district. So that means that every student in the district would get their own tap card. It would be good for unlimited rides on ABTA for the whole school year through June 30th, 2024. And it would also be good for unlimited rides on LA Metro and all of the other transit agencies that I mentioned on the previous slide. And the other thing that's really great about this program is that it qualifies for the home to school transportation reimbursement through the California Department of Education. So that means you can get up to 60% reimbursement on the cost of this program just by including it in your annual transportation plan. And so 60% reduction of the $7 per year cost results in the cost being $2.80 per student, which is awesome. And so I put a little calculation up there so you could see what that fare rate would look like. We based it on the previous enrollment from the previous school year. So that would be 15,018 students times 280, about $42,000 for every student in the district to have an unlimited use pass for the whole year. That's the equivalent to about 108 students riding at the regular ABTA rate, but it covers the whole school district. And it also covers any other transit need you might have. So not just the students you might serve now, the homeless students and foster youth that traditionally get transportation covered, but even attendance improvement, which will hopefully increase the revenue on the attendance side, and even field trips are covered under this program. They can be used for any purpose. So all that they need to do once the district signs up for the program, they get the cards. They need to register the cards once, tap the card once to activate the card, and then it's good for the whole year. They can do that registration online, or they can do it with a live person on the phone. And then even if they lose a card, there's an easy lost card replacement process, so they can get a new card from the school, basically transfer the pass to the new card and continue ride. So currently, I mentioned this program has been in place about 2 years. We launched October 2021, sorry. And right now we have over 105 K-12 districts, charter networks, and even some private schools, over 1,500 schools total. We have 16 community colleges participating already, which does not include Antelope Valley College because they have their own separate program. And altogether, there's over 1.3 million eligible students in those partner districts. So the program has become really successful. So we've distributed over 2 million TAP cards, but the important thing is that 83% of the TAP cards that get registered are being actively used on the system. So that's not like 1 or 2 boardings. It's an average of 88 boardings per active card. And that's added up to over 24 million boardings in the last 2 years. So students are really using the card. They tell us, some of the students tell us it's the reason why they're able to attend school. They also tell us that the money they save on transportation, they use for food for their families. They can have breakfast or lunch, and they don't have to choose between how to get to school and whether to have a meal. And the second thing that they use it on is books and school supplies. So that goes back to helping students succeed. So we've seen that the boardings are used mostly to get to school. They're used mostly during the weekdays, and you can see the peaks in the before and after school period. We do encourage the passes to be used for anything though. A lot of students use them to get to jobs, even after school activities, sports practices, and games. They can be used for any purpose. There's literally no requirements and no maximum use. And then the other thing I just want to say is that parents are also eligible to qualify for free or reduced fares under the Low Income Fares Easy program. Under that program, they get 90 days free on Metro and all the participating transit agencies. And then they also get 20 free rides every single month beyond that. And the rides roll over if they don't use them all. So they can continue to use those free rides as well. So we just wanted to tell you a little bit about the program, give you something to think about, and take any questions if you have any.
Okay, sure there's some questions. Ready? Go ahead, Greg.
Seems like a great program. If we were to do that, be able to work with the district to see if there's any need to maybe the drop-off spots or anything to help with the school flow, that kind of thing.
And by my friend James.
Hi, as a reminder, I'm James Rowe with ABTA, and actually we have already spoken to both Rebecca Cooksey and Rose about our routes. We run school trippers throughout the Antelope Valley that are designed to meet the needs of the students, and as needs arise, we can make modifications to the routes. They have to make sense for everybody. They are public routes. There's limitations on which streets they can go up and down. But we're very welcoming of feedback from the schools, from the public. It's how we design our routes. It's getting feedback from the public.
Yeah, I had a question when you said field trips, or when she said field trips, my ears perked up. Do you guys do special buses for that? I mean, we do field trips. You're talking, 300 kids. They're not all going to fit on them.
Yeah, we would have to take it individually as far as the needs being met. ABTA as a rule doesn't provide charter services. We're just not allowed to as a federal agency. We don't compete against bus rental companies or charter services. But if there was a need, we have done things in the past like trips to air shows.
Right.
Then we do travel training where we bring a bus out and the kids all ride the bus around the block and learn how to use the transit. Very much in favor of that.
More questions?
You also mentioned Metrolink is now taking part of this.
So it's a separate program, but starting this coming Monday, October 9th, Metrolink is going to be offering free rides for all students. So they do need to register with Metrolink on their app, and then they just need to tell the app each time they're going to take a trip and activate that trip in the app, and then the trip is free. So it's a program they're just rolling out literally next week. But yeah, starting next week, it's ride free once they register for that program.
I just was curious, is this all students are none program, or is there other options where, say, we had 20% interest, we could do it?
Yeah, this particular program, the reason it's priced so low is because it's meant to cover all students.
Once they're registered, let me ask, excuse me, once they're registered, can you track them on the bus?
We can, but we're legally not allowed to share that information outside of the agency in terms of where they traveled. We can provide the information in aggregate. We just can't provide it for one student. We can't tell you where individual students are traveling to. It's actually against California privacy law. But we can tell you, the lines that are utilized the most by a particular school or by a particular district. We can tell you how many total boardings, how many total passes are activated, have been registered. Any kind of aggregate data like that, yes, we definitely provide that kind of information to this.
Further thing to consider as kids get older and are attending after school events such as YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, maybe even have after school jobs. FFA, I know that's a need over in some of the areas that they need to get there to do the after school programs. This is a program that can be used for that as well.
I think the question, to touch on to what Wayne was talking about, is that we're concerned about truancy. Having a child to be able to get on bus and then go anywhere he wants, or she wants, I shouldn't. So, I mean, that's just why he was asking about the whole tracking. Is there any way that we can, if there is a problem with a certain student, that we could cut them off and say, okay, we're done.
And deactivate a card, definitely. The only thing that we wouldn't be able to do is tell you where that student traveled, unless you had like law enforcement involved. If there was a lost student or something like that, and there was law enforcement involvement, then yes, we could track and see if they have been traveling on the system and share that information. But other than that, it's protected by privacy law. But the cards can be deactivated, either by the parent or by the district. So even if a parent decides they don't want their student to have that card, they can, or not register it at all.
If a student decides to get this card, let's say the student sells the card for $20 and then come back and say, I lost my card, would that automatically deactivate? Okay.
Yeah, when they register the new card, the old card is automatically deactivated.
And do these cards have a color so they're like, so like, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm going to sell my card for $20 to the first person I see.
Yeah, like.
But it's a different color or something, or?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
bright orange. So
Okay.
normally the tap cards are like a blue watercolor design, but the student cards are bright orange.
Because that's, it's a great bargain for everybody out there, and some kid's going to figure this out, but he's going to learn the color thing doesn't work. Okay. Or she. More questions? Anybody, staff, you guys got any questions?
Nice to be able to deactivate the card instructional time.
Nice.
We don't have the ability to do that. Take that recommendation.
We're just throwing it out there, that would be nice. Some other things too, okay. But thank you guys, appreciate you guys coming up.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I think now we'll move on to the 21st century classrooms presentation, and Caldwell Flores Winters is in the house. All right. What was your drive?
Today was actually quite nice. One side of Kern County. Good evening. My name is Emilio Flores, CEO of Caldwell Flores Winters. I'm joined this evening by Janet Nagel, our Vice President of Educational Services. This evening, what we wanted to talk about with the board is a lot of some of the guiding principles in terms of the overall design facilities as we go forward and continue to embark on facilities implementation plan. And Janet will be talking about some of those key principles, and in an attempt to help everybody kind of internalize them, we provided some illustrations in the form of a video. These are not specific to your schools, but they do illustrate some of those design principles and illustrate how the educational program helps to manifest certain features and elements of the schools as a whole. So Jan's going to do a quick little introduction about some of those principles, and then she's going to walk everybody through kind of some of the images in terms of the overall elements. And then obviously we'll be here to answer any questions you may have about that. Once again, just as a quick disclaimer, this is not something that has been applied directly to Lancaster. It's meant to be illustrative for discussion purposes.
Thank you, Emilio. Good evening. It's nice to be here and see you all. What we're going to show you today are 21st century classrooms and how they manifest themselves. In education, the move is towards teaching students information, and they know information, but then they are able to use that information in some way to demonstrate knowledge. And we want students to be able to communicate, to collaborate. We want them to analyze data. We want them to create things and build things. And we need classrooms that support that kind of educational instruction and provide that ability to have that happen. So let's begin the video. And as we go through the video, I will talk through some of these particular spaces. You're going to hear things like mobile and flexible and have the ability to use spaces in many ways. This would be an office space. Again, there's a monitor in the front of the office. We saw that in many of your schools so that you can communicate with your public about what's happening. These are particular workspaces, are mobile and flexible. The reason for that is you write a grant, you get another person, and you need another workspace, and you can start to create that. There's also collaboration spaces, and again, there are offices for those individuals who offices, privacy, conversations that you don't want public. The storage in these particular environments is mobile and flexible so that it can be changed out to meet the needs that you have for that particular space and for that program. This is a library media center. In the library media center, you see the soft seating, and where we have these in action and kids are using them, the children gravitate towards that soft seating. You'll see them reading books, you'll see them talking to each other about what they're reading. Furniture here is all mobile and flexible, and within about a minute, it can be moved out of the way and you can have large open space if you need. There are breakout rooms with glass fronts so that the person that's monitoring the library can see inside. These are mobile book shelves. They can be arranged in different configurations to create small reading nooks if you want, or large open spaces. This is a MPR, or in this case, it could also be a gym. It has the markings on the floor, and you'll see the basketball standards. The idea, again, is that the space has multiple uses. And so by bringing in a portable stage, now the portable stages are so well designed, they can be put up and taken down within 15 minutes by 2 people. So when you have a performance, you put that stage up. When you need to serve food, the stage goes away and you bring out the serving carts. This is going to be, it says transitional kindergarten, but it could also be a kindergarten room. In the classrooms, those are whiteboards that slide across the windows so that that forms the curtain. It becomes additional learning spaces. They're magnetic so that teachers can put things up on those boards. They can be moved so that you have light coming in the room, or they're moved so they're closed across the windows. So you could have students working at the board, other students walk around and they give feedback, and it becomes a wonderful teaching, learning, instructional strategy. The furniture that you see in these rooms is all mobile and flexible. Students can move this furniture into different configurations in less than a minute, so that the teacher can arrange the room to fit the instructional needs that the teacher has at the time. Again, you see the whiteboards, and there's 3 monitors in each one of these rooms. The same thing can be on all 3 monitors or something different on each monitor, so the teacher can create centers as needed. This is the restroom that's between the 2 classrooms, and it's shared by the 2 classrooms. This would be a professional support space, for instance, a resource specialist. They work with smaller numbers of students, so the space is smaller. The storage is mobile and flexible. And this particular room would have just 1 monitor because it's a smaller space. But again, that furniture is mobile and flexible, so it can be put together in groups or having students work individually as needed. This would be a classroom. And you see in this particular classroom, the whiteboards that are across the window right now, they can be moved. There are 3 monitors in this particular room. Same thing, all 3 monitors are different things on the monitors. The slide boards that will move, and behind the slide boards, you see the storage. So the storage is there, and then you have additional learning spaces when you slide those whiteboards across it. This would be an example of a piano lab or a music program. 2 students sit at each of these keyboards. They have headphones on. The teacher's at a motherboard and can listen to students individually to give feedback. When you want the students to all play together, they take off the headphones and the teacher flips the switch, and then they can each other play. There are specific acoustics that you'd have in this room, and there's only 1 particular monitor in the room. There are fewer whiteboards because you don't want as much sound reverberation. This room is long and narrow so that the teacher can walk down the aisles and look at hand placements for students on the keys. This would be a music room. It could be band or choir. And again, you have the furniture that fits that particular educational program. So in this case, it's music stand chairs. And again, that can be very quickly arranged. The storage is mobile. And you would pick the storage that you needed for the music program, and that would be storage that would handle music sheets. Again, there are the sliding marker boards that slide across the storage. And in a music program, you need additional storage areas for the musical instruments. That particular storage area will need to be specific, depending upon the kind of musical instrument that you're, musical program that you're using. This would be a art room. And again, the furniture is mobile and flexible so that you can have students individually in groups of 2, 4, 6, 8, whatever is needed for the instructional program. And there's trough sinks along one wall so that there are multiple faucets so students can the art supplies as needed. Again, there's going to be a storage room, but it will have different kinds of storage because art needs different storage than, for instance, in music. There are sliding marker boards across the alcove, and there's additional storage behind it. There are, again, sliding marker boards over the. This particular room is what we call a digital art room. This room, there are banks of computers in rows, and it would function much like a digital art space would look in the industry field. And to it is what we call a maker's room. And in the classroom program, with the art or the art on the computer, and then they send it to a machine. And in this case, it might be a 3D printer that prints out something they've made, or another kind of machine that they need to put something together. But the maker space is where they would actually make stuff, and if the machines are noisy, they're in there. That wall is again glass so that the teacher can monitor what's going on in both places. This is an example of a science lab. In this particular science lab, this furniture has chemical resistant tops, but they're now making that so that they can too be moved. That is a demonstration table for the teacher, and it also can be moved so that the teacher can arrange the room as the teacher needs to. There are again trough sinks so that multiple students have those sinks. Science equipment. There is a storage room for science because science has quite a bit of materials and supplies. And again, that storage would be mobile and flexible, so it would meet the of the science program. This would be an example of a robotics lab. This too, the furniture is mobile and flexible, but next to the tables on this, you see those storage units. There's specifics for that particular kind of program. Doing something like robotics, you actually program it and then you build it. And build it, you usually have lots of parts. So you would have the kind of storage that you needed for that particular. And again, you see in this room the same features as other rooms with the 3 monitors, the sliding marker boards, and you would have an additional storage room as storage room. These tables and chairs are flexible and can be arranged very quickly into different arrangements. What's nice about that in a robotics room is often you need a big space to make whatever you have programmed do something, and just furniture out of the way to make that happen. This is an example of a science lab, and this would be a wet science. So that means it's biology, something where you are using quite a bit of water. It too would have the chemical resistant tops so that don't ruin the top science activities when they do experiments. It has a storage room. This is an example of a particular class there about hydroponics. And so you have the equipment you would need for that particular. And you see the sliding marker boards over windows, additional learning. Then there's a storage room between the 2 science labs so that they can share materials and supplies. And this would shows you a different kind of wet lab. This one would be biology, and you would have equipment would reflect the needs of that particular. Furniture in this particular classroom also is mobile and flexible. They come in many sizes, shapes, and forms, but they all are very sturdy and can be out of the way quickly or into other kinds of. And again, you see the teacher demonstration table, which is also and those are examples of 21st century classrooms. Any questions?
Just wanted to emphasize as well is that we showed you 3 examples of programs that go in these spaces. One of the things you'll notice about the design principles is that we rebuild a lot of the built-in environment. So if you go into your classrooms today, you'll see that almost every single linear wall is covered, and that limits the ability for certain activities to occur. In many cases, we'll be in a situation where we have to go out and modify existing conditions in order to do that. Undertaking those projects before, what we've seen is as those uses change over time, by not having that built-in environment, what allows us to do is be flexible and change the needs of the curriculum as it evolves. We started looking at this particular type of design 15 years ago. What was being dictated by the state and by national trends in curriculum is very different from where we are today. For instance, when I was in high school, which was a while back, but collaboration was a dirty word. That was cheating. And so, classrooms were designed certain ways in order to make sure that students were having individual assessments, individual attainment, and so forth. We're seeing as pedagogy moves towards collaboration, project-based learning, things of that nature, we have to build spaces to support that. So as we're going through this planning process, one of the things that we are interfacing a lot with the district is, what are the educational programs? And what is your base curriculum? And then as we look at individual school sites, what are the programs that they have historically offered? And how are we building facilities to support those going forward? And building in such a way that if those change over time, that we're able to accommodate that. One of the nice things about the wet lab, for example, is that really, it is one of those things where you switch out the furniture, it's pretty close to the robotics room. That is by design. It is meant to really be adaptable over time, so forth. So I think in terms of the overall design principles, one of the things we want to talk about as we continue down this path is really that we're looking at ways in which to provide the district with the maximum flexibility for its facilities to move forward, and as we look to make investments in the spaces as well. Like I said before, this is really more an illustrative process in terms of saying these demonstrate some of the design principles that we see that are needed as we move forward with the educational programs.
Questions? So a lot of the designs we saw, age group, were those kind of geared towards, was that like middle school, high school?
So most of the designs, so first off, in the overall design aspect of it, a lot of the stuff is geared towards K-8. And so when you're looking at the middle schools, for example, you'd see more of that traditional science lab type of approach. But we do teach science in all the other grades as well. And so obviously in the lower elementary situations, you'll have a general purpose classroom where the core teaching will occur. There's also going to be programs that are going to be specialized at those campuses as well. And that's when we talk about maker spaces. So whether it is a maker's lab that has that specialized program offering where students can rotate through, or it's an art room, for example. So in most of the campuses, you'll have a combination, especially the lower grades, of the general purpose classrooms and then specialty classrooms that would provide that additional educational programs at that. What really changes from slide really changes is seat heights. So really, in terms of types of furniture, what we see is that we typically see at the younger age a more fixed type of chair. So you may not necessarily have the wheels and casters, but pretty quickly once you get to second and third grade, you start seeing that more and more utilized. And it's really just the seat heights. One of the things is most of these chairs are very similar to your office chairs in the sense that they have the hydraulic lift so that it's adjustable for the student's height as a whole. So programmatically, most of these designs can accommodate anywhere from K to 12, TK to 12, and you're really just looking at table heights, chair heights, and company equipment.
Let me ask you a question. Looked like a lot of this was artificial intelligence. Do you have the classrooms available that school district could go and visit?
Certainly. So we've been doing this for about 10 to 15 years. Probably the most advanced version of this is over in Oxnard in Ventura County. We've helped them reconstruct 6 elementary schools to date. One's a K-8, the other 5 are K-5s. and they're currently embarking upon the reconstruction of a middle school, 6-8. But there's examples up and down any of the freeways we can point you in the direction of. I know Dr. Moretti has some interest in a field trip to one of those areas, but yes, they exist in their practical form. They exist as real classrooms. Just in this particular video, it's easier for us to show it as computer generated than for us walking around with the camera on one bigger school site. But they do exist. It's something that people can look and touch and see. And for some districts, what we've done as well is that once there's a basis of design, if you will, is that we've also looked at potentially looking at demonstration classrooms. So being able to build a prototype and say, okay, what are the things that work, what don't work, in terms of the education program that's being on. But really, the way that we look at these particular designs is that they're flexible enough to accommodate whatever it is that we need to put in those classrooms short term and long term. The other thing I want to point out as well, which the district has done a good job embarking on in the past couple of years, is the repurposing of space. So, as enrollment declines and as space becomes available on campus, it is our human nature that we fill that space. And so we may be utilizing facilities in ways that they were not originally designed to be utilized. So we may have, as Janet pointed out, we may have resource specialists in a full classroom when maybe all they need is half a classroom. And we may not necessarily. So as we go through this process of evaluating our school sites, that's another thing we're looking at as well, is how do we best utilize space we have, or how it's designed currently, what is the most advantageous way for us to reconfigure that going forward. But back to your original question, I apologize, I ran out of these schools do exist, these models do exist, and be happy to give Dr. Moretti examples of other school sites and provide the board, and like to go and visit one that's a
I'm sure that we have some to take on that, some board members too. So I think it'd be great to go see it.
Dr. DeJana at Oxnard Elementary is a line, and I'm sure she'd love to assist us.
I'm sure there were some principals.
My question, Emilio, and I know you guys, I hate to even think about it, but I'm the security guy. So like, I notice sometimes the way they build classrooms now is they have that restroom thing, you have like a lockdown, they can go to where the restrooms are on both sides. Is that something you guys even think about nowadays, or all the?
So once again, as we go through this planning process, we're going to look at the way in which the district has set up its policies and procedures and try to make sure that whatever designs we put forward, meet that, if not go beyond that. And so, really what we look at is site security first. So, using perimeter fencing, interior courtyards, so we have the ability to lock down, and then, using the buildings as barriers as well. So we look at that first externally, and then internally, one of the things is that the sliding market boards has two functions. The first function is that it allows for additional learning spaces. The other thing is it is an obscure object between the window and classroom. We've all been in that situation where you're trying to fiddle around with blinds, and there's that one blind that wants to close. Eventually put a piece of cardboard or construction paper in front of it. And so really the idea there is that by no means is the market board bulletproof, by no means, but it does give you a barrier between the classrooms. And, think of it as, your closet door, right? You're able to slide into place and be there in front of that. So there are considerations throughout the design process with that. Do we create a hardened area within those classrooms? That's not something that we've explored, primarily because, quite frankly, the cost associated with that on the scale in order to implement that district-wide is somewhat prohibitive.
Well, I guess not in the new.
I mean, certainly
It seems to be a concern.
Certainly, things we look at is door hardware, we look at the windows, we look at the window coverings, we look at points of entry, and while we're dealing with existing campuses, I think one of the things we want to look at as well is obviously a single point of entry. This campus, even though it's not in its original form, it's a great example. Pending, your familiarity with the campus, there's 5 different entrances to this particular campus, and we can personally attest that we've gotten lost on this campus many times trying to find the front. So those are some of the things we take into account as we look at the different school sites, saying how we can improve the processes. But no, in terms of, have we looked at bulletproof glass? No.
Just basically an area where they can go where there's no windows.
Right. And so there are areas for that, and that's specifically on the TKK side.
Right, and that's what it would like. I know that's kind of what like more designs are like that with a shared area.
And the reason for that is that there are specialized classrooms that have different code requirements.
Right.
So for kindergarten and TK, there is a supervision requirement. You have to have direct supervision of the restrooms in new construction. That's required going forward. And so that is one of those things that we try to accomplish by having that shared vestibule so that the teacher is able to have line of sight on the student using the restroom. And then if you are in a situation where one teacher has to step out, have it more access there as well. But those are all things that we will, once we get to the implementation part of all this, design of actual school sites, what have you, that's something that we would be addressed in that design process. What we're doing right now is trying to create a specification in which so we can go back, say, looking at the facilities you have, how can we apply the specification best to the campus you have to achieve those bigger goals you have. And like I said, the thing that's driving all of this is the educational program. The reason why we have 3 monitors in there, and the reason why Janet kept on mentioning differentiation, right, is that you may have a situation when you're teaching in class where you may have small group work, and you want to provide resources to students of small groups in different ways. And so, being able to differentiate learning in the classroom is, I think, always a goal. How achievable that is, especially after COVID, is sometimes a little difficult, but I think overall that's kind of where we're going. So working with your educational services folks and working with the district and the superintendent, what we're trying to make sure we pull out of this is what are the tools that teachers need in terms of what the facilities can provide? How can we provide them in the most economical way? Do that, and how can we support the educational program that we have today and also be flexible enough that as the changes go forward, we're able to adapt. Because right now, if you want to go redo a room, you can see it on this campus, you got to tear everything out and start from scratch. And what we want to do is provide you with the resources and the facilities that you, with a minimal amount of modification in the future, be able to change the use of that particular building, better suit your needs. Because we all thought we knew what schools were for 50 years. We're now living through a different one. I'm a recent father, and what she's going to have in 15 years is run through something I probably haven't even imagined yet, or hopefully.
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, now we're going to do our public hearing on the sufficiency of instructional materials public hearing. And the hearing at Chair White.
This is from the CIA department, who typically takes the lead on this work. So as you know, per the Williams settlement, LACO comes and reviews our sufficiency of textbook. Also, they also look at appropriate credentials for teachers and the facilities as well. This particular hearing, sufficiency of textbook gets coming. So we had 13 schools that were included in the review this year. The Williams materials review always happens within our first 4 weeks of school, starting each year, and that can be a challenge, as you can imagine, with books that are ordered. July 1st starts, and they get back ordered and that kind of thing. Always quite a challenge. Our staff has always done a great job stepping up to it. Sites are designated by their CSI status. As you know, the sites in our district, we have 6 sites that are CSI, so they are comprehensive support and intervention targeted sites, so they have that oversight from the state and feds, so they're selected. And then other sites are selected oftentimes based on the percentage of teachers without a preliminary or clear credential. If the school has over 15% of the teachers on an emergency or an intern permit, that might trigger site to be selected. Site reviewers visited each site and walked multiple classrooms. They asked students if they have books at school and if they're able to use those books or computers at home, because we must provide the students with a physical or digital text, and they must be able to access the core textbooks both at home and The Williams reviewers are checking for all the core subjects, so that's language arts, math, science, and social studies, and ELD materials at all grade levels. Those are what they look at when they walk in those rooms. 13 of our sites that were reviewed did pass the review. So, and we had Lava that was also included in that, and they just had come back for Lava. So that's why they weren't part of that first round. But we would definitely like to publicly acknowledge and thank Krista's secretary, Stephanie Monroy, and bilingual office assistant, Martha Castro, for coordinating and managing this process. They had to get information from all the teachers at those 13 sites about the number of books they had and the number of books that were missing. Then they had to work with all the 22 other sites, all 22 sites in our CII book room where we keep an overage to get books and get them where they needed to go. So it was a lot of physical labor, and there are quite a few deliveries of curriculum that were just getting here late, and we had to work with the publishers to make sure we get those open, inventoried, labeled, and delivered to the appropriate sites in a very short span of time. So it was a lot of physically demanding work. We just want to thank all of those folks there, and also the site CPSs and librarians that helped throughout that whole process.
All right, thank you. Have any questions or concerns or clarifications? Okay. Yes, we'll close the hearing at 7:06. On to item 14, individual action items, education services. We have adoption of resolution 2023-248, certified sufficient full textbook instructional materials. Motion by Mr. Nguyen, Mr. TP. Favor? Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Item B, the approval of overnight study trip to SeaWorld for Nancy Corey student. Mr. TP. Mr. Nguyen. Questions, concerns, clarifications? What else do people that to go to SeaWorld?
We don't have a hotel yet. But
They stay at SeaWorld.
Fishes.
And yeah,
So to speak.
Penguins this year.
Yeah. With the fish. What am I doing? What is it? Really? Okay. We're all jealous we don't get to be chaperones. A little bit. Yeah. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Just can't stay up all night like I used to. Okay, item 15, we have individual action items, human resources. We have the approval of provisional internship permit for the 2023-24 school year. Personnel link. Need a motion. Motion by Mr. Ware. By Mrs. Concerns, clarifications? Probably not. All in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Okay, we're just on the addressing the board. So my favorite part, individuals who wish to address the board may complete a speaker card and present it to any supporting documents to the superintendent's assistant or other district official prior to the start of the meeting. Personal information such as student/parent/guardian name, address, phone number, date of birth, email address, or other correct information as defined in Education Code 49061 may be excluded in the minutes of the meeting by submitting a written request to the superintendent. Board president shall recognize individuals who wish to speak. Individuals wishing to present testimony to the board concerning specific items on the agenda must do so once the item has been moved, seconded, and is on the floor for discussion. Time limits of 3 minutes per person and 20 minutes per item shall be allowed. Board members may ask questions for clarification purposes. However, no action may be taken and no discussion may take place on an item that is not on the posted agenda. Comments from PTA. CSCA. Oh, PTA. Yeah, come on down. Yeah, just for that PTA, you are back.
Back again this year. So accepting PTA members, we have 77 so far, dozen of you this year. So we're hoping to get up to 100 again.
We have a lot of exciting things happening this year. We have activities planned for the kids this year. Our next event is going to be our trunk or treat. So you guys are all welcome to come. And it'll be the 27th of October at 4:30. And we've opened up a student store for the kids. The kids are excited about it. They love it. They come, and that is open on Fridays on campus. And then we have at least one activity every month planned for the kids and the families as well. So we're just plugging through, and we're always taking members. So it's only $7 if you do it in envelope, $8 if you register online. I can take your emails, and I will send you that link, and you are more than welcome to register. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming and giving us a PTA representative. You're at Desert View, correct? I want to make sure we don't, for the new members, they don't know where you're at, but some people have already done the membership. So, okay, we have CSEA. Yeah, look at that. We're going to have a full boat. Okay, come on down.
I'm Irene Hobson. I'm the communications officer for Chapman. Here, I plan to be coming to a heck of a lot more of these. I do want to say on the textbooks, CPSs and librarians, just you guys mentioned it's a lot of physical labor. I just want to emphasize to you, that's roughly about 2,000 pounds of books per site. Varies depending on how many students we've got, and that was in the middle of the hottest part of summer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the librarian for Sunnydale. I was out there moving books, super hot, super sweaty. I did it and got it done. We were able to work together to get that done. I really wish we could come back earlier, get it done before school starts. So that way we can have everybody's books in the room. That way we can hurry school starts, because I know I had to keep my clothes for whole August so that we can get all that done.
All right, well, thank you.
Wait, can I ask you a question? Is CSEA going to put on a coat drive this year?
Gotta bring it up to Greg.
Okay.
I think we're planning on it.
All right, thank you so much for coming, and sorry to keep coming, but hey, I got to come, you got to come. All right.
Thank you for all your hard work over the summer, and that was actually a ton of books.
A ton of books, right? That's actually literal time. All right, Tal. We don't have a full boat. Buddy, say something for Tal. Next time. Okay, I guess we'll move on from two comments from the audience.
There are no comments.
Okay. All right, we're going to move on to item 17, consent agenda items, superintendent items 17A through 17J. Motion by Mr. Nguyen, Mrs. Mann. Questions, concerns, clarifications, shout outs.
This is one of those legislative agendas at the end of it. This is now the third. This is where they all become.
Okay. Now you got one. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I think I did. Yeah, you Sonic portable display.
The fair or the ed,
So,
they gave us a donation that we could raffle off during that summit.
Okay. All right. So, hearing no more questions or concerns or shout outs, all in favor? Motion passes 4-0. We have item 18, consent agenda items, business items 18A through 18N. Concerns, clarifications? Shout outs? Oh, yeah, I know you do.
is that a normal? It just seems. I know Larry's not here.
And I think the beginning of the year, we tend to purchases. Middle of the year lags, and then at the end of the year, we spend on.
I don't know. Answer that question or not, I can't remember. See my. Back next meeting. It's like,
I can provide you that.
get hold of it. All right. All right. Any other questions, concerns, typos? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, so we're on 19, I believe. Are you on 19? Okay, consent agenda items, educational services, items 19A through 19H. Second? Second. Questions, concerns, clarifications? Anyone wants to know about learning without tears?
But, that inspired. Thank you very much. Wished all of our schools. Swing that $4,000 on it. So.
Very good. Anything else? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion passes 4-0. 20. We have the consent agenda item. Oh, and we're going to pull item D.
For item 20, the approval of the nurse practitioner job description, we'd like to pull that item.
Do we need a motion to pull that item?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so first we're going to make, I need a motion to pull item D from consent agenda item 20. Moved by Mrs. Mann. Second by Mr. Nguyen. All in favor for that? Aye. Motion passes 4-0. And then now we're going to go to the rest of the items, items A through F, except for D. A motion for that. Motion by Mr. Nguyen, second by Mr. TP. Questions, concerns on items A, B, C, or E or F? And good job on the Williams lawsuit again. That's got a quarterly report. So far, so good. We got the good, even got a thumbs up from the LA County Office of Education. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. We have item 21. We have consent agenda items, innovation and technology services, items 21A and 21B. Well, and Mr. Teefy. Questions, concerns, clarifications?
This is a continuation of a grant that we've gotten for the last 3 years. Okay.
Any other questions? Moving dance magic in, I guess. They're going to be teaching us some dance. LA.
Over at Sierra, Rebecca McConnell, the principal, brought them in. So we're really looking forward to that program after school.
Pretty cool. I supported them. I had 7 daughters, so I actually, and my son did it too. So yeah, one of them. I don't stock in that, but I don't have to, but not really. So I don't have to stay in that. I should have. All right, all in favor? Motion passes 4-0. Okay, we have legislative and policy discussion. We have some more first readings. Review of a deletion of administration regulation. Are they got any concern to clarification on those? All right, got any questions? Start talking. All right, I guess we'll move on to the comments from the board and superintendent. We'll start with you, Mrs. Mann.
dancers today. They're so cute. Really good meeting. I don't have really much to say other than good job with the
Good, all right. Mr. Wynn.
I'd have to say, did a fantastic job.
All right, get some water. I'll tell you what, we'll come back to you. We'll go to Mr. Keith. You're not dying on me while you're sitting there though. Go ahead, Mr. TP. Go ahead, Mr. TP. We'll come back to this. We'll take any of this stuff though.
Great board meeting. It's fantastic to see the dancers and parents. His excitement and impressions are fantastic. It's neat to see a lot of the parents here at the board meeting and a lot of the students here. Definitely got excited. It's great. It's also neat to see like different ways that we can build our classrooms for future programs. So I'm excited to look into that. And I don't know if I really get time off of work, but I'm glad that a lot of people might be able to go down and look at classrooms in Oxnard. Or do that. It was great to see PTA and CSEA here. So keep up the good work. Also too, I know had a little extra in our budget from our last meetings. I wanted to look into maybe a future meeting, look at the possibility of increasing our reserve fund. I know right now might just be like a month, maybe a little presentation, and then what we might be able to do to increase that. Great board meeting.
Thank you. Mr. Wynn, you good? All right. If not, we'll skip you again. I'm flexible.
Just want to say it was great. Schools, administrators, and superintendents, and even I was there for other reasons. And Osmond was there. But it was great, and I appreciate you. It's a good thing. Aces. Yeah. He had his fan club here. Decorating on the over floors. That'd be nice.
Absolutely, we can make that happen.
I think that some of the principals and I think some of the
Round up some teachers too.
Yes, we'll go.
Our vans, we have 12 passenger vans, and we can take a couple groups down.
answers from Desert View. Nice to know. Now, at least we have two schools. The free and I mean,
Mostly is.
We can have a dance off, see who's the best.
And we're looking forward to the ball to come back. Oh. You know, and the African school, both great.
Mary?
I just wanted to inform the board and looking over the report that we have some really large contracts that we signed primarily for expanded learning opportunity grant and ACEs. So there's several contracts that are exceeding $1 million. That's really, and that money's coming out of our grants. So just wanted to make that clear. And then also Desert View, yes, awesome. You know, we're happy to get those programs up and growing, and now we just need our mariachi program to come on board, and then I'll be happy. Going Linda Verdi, that'd be great. Okay, and then really excited to spend a week at the fair. We had a great opportunity to engage with our community, and I think our community was really excited to be there and to see us, and just to make those connections. And so we're going to continue to make connections with our community through opportunities like the fair, and also through opportunities like our food distribution every Friday at right here at Parkview, and also we have a community event on the 13th of October coming up. So we are excited to continue to partner and engage with our community and all the great work we're doing. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I want to thank everybody that's stayed all this time. And Debbie, good chat. Those cookies were amazing. There's not one left, just so you know. So those were awesome. And a couple things people didn't mention. But, cross country started, well, at least for us. I have two kids running in that. I have a little daughter that's more into the flag. She's into the, what do you call that thing? Honor guard or whatever the way they do the flags. I forgot color guard. That's what I'm looking for. Color guard. And I just put her flag on before I came over. She has, you know, a different flag, and she's so short they had to cut her pole. So she has a short pole. So she goes, "I'm going to be in the front." I go, "I hate to tell you, but it's because you're short and people can see around you." But I didn't tell her that. I said, "It's because you're awesome." But anyway, she also ran, but she's more of a 10-minute mile, you know, runner. And then my son, who really is a pretty good runner, he got smoked. There was like, seemed like there must have been 1,000 boys running. He's like a 6-minute mile, and he got creamed. There's some good runners this year, really good runners. So it was see the competitiveness of all the kids in the Antelope Valley. And I know all those kids at that time are not doing anything, you know, unconstructed, because they are exhausted and they're, you know, they're getting that energy out. So I love to see that. It's fun to watch them. And even though, you know, it's one more thing to do, it was still fun. Thanks to our Colorio dancers. It's so hard to say, even though I've had kids do it. Still hard to say. Just when you're a white boy, it's hard. So appreciate the ABTA Go Pass presentation, and just see what, you know, I guess they kind of answered the field trip thing, kind of like local. Thanks to CFW for the presentation. I appreciate seeing what we can do with the modular classrooms. Or I don't know if there's a modular, but they're modular in the sense that they're movable, right? And basically that's it. I guess we'll close out the meeting. We'll get a closed session. So I'm open to a adjournment time of 7:27. If anybody would like to give me a motion, we're going to give it to her. She's a girl, so we're going to do that. Man motion and Mr. Wynn second, and all in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you guys.